Okay.
Right.
I'm going to share my screen. So this is all about uh, some new tools that just came out in the last 10 days for Photoshop and for Lightroom.
Oh,
Anybody if you're more comfortable doing this in Lightroom, it works exactly the same way. But I'm going to show it in Photoshop, but I'll give you some clues about Lightroom too as we go. So the real key is that it's allowed the any image, Photoshop and or Lightroom will analyze it and break it into sections. And I'll demonstrate that right here in a second. I'm going to go up here to filter, and I'm going to go to camera raw, which is the develop module in Lightroom. That's the same thing. And I'm going to make this as large as I can so everybody can see well. And so what you're going to see is that at this point, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on the masking symbol. It's really masking and selections have blended together so much now that they're essentially the same thing. And so I'm going to go to masking, and then you can see that it now shows landscape. It used to just say subject, sky, background. Now you can see the word landscape because I've got a landscape image here. And I'm going to click on landscape, and then it's going to give me several possibilities. Right now it's analyzing the image, and it's going to show me, I can look at sky and you can see how it puts a mask in there. Mountains, it puts in a separate mask. Pretty darn good. Vegetation,
Wow.
all the vegetation it does. Now you can see that that looks similar to mountains. It covers the same area, so you may want to change that depending on how that goes. Water, and then natural ground. There's probably not a whole lot of natural ground here. Okay, it's seeing the rocks as natural ground. So all these are automatically done for you. You don't do anything other than say, okay, I want to affect the sky a little bit. So we'll start with the sky, and then you just hit create. And then it just gives you, once it gives you a bunch of stuff up here, but then as you go down, you'll recognize these are the adjustments. Now, it puts the masking overlay in there, which won't allow you to see what you're doing. So I'm going to turn that off. And then I'm going to affect just the sky because that's the only one I'm working with at the moment. So I'm going to change the sky. I'm going to darken it a little bit. Maybe I'll give it a little more contrast. Change that blue just slightly. It was a little weak. But you can do all the regular changes to just the sky. And like I said, it does it for you. You don't have to do anything. So then I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to say create new mask and select landscape again. And then this time I'm going to do the vegetation, let's say, and I'm going to do create. And this image was a little darker than, uh, oh, okay. It's a little darker than what I would like, so I'd like to brighten it up a little bit. So I'll come down and I will look at a couple of things. I'm going to just do, I'll bring the highlights up a little bit now we're doing the mountains and the foliage, which are on the same thing. I might bring the shadows down, which will brighten it up a little bit.
Oh,
and then I'll do another one. So once again, I'll say create new mask, select landscape, and this time I'm going to do the water. And I'll choose create, and then I'll go down. And for the water, I'll turn off the overlay. For the water, I'm going to add a little bit of contrast. I'm not sure. This is all, subjective. I'll add a little bit to the highlights. Maybe I'll open up the shadows a little bit. And you can do a lot with this. It's up to you how far you want to take it. And oh yeah, if you take the blacks all the way up, now we've got, looks like a glacier has created this water instead of just the river in the mountains. And somewhere about there. Now, I'm going to go back to vegetation again, and I'm going to brighten that up even more. I might bring the exposure up slightly. There you go. And that to me looks pretty darn good. So any landscape, it will analyze it, it'll break it up into these pieces for you automatically, and then you just add your regular um, Lightroom adjustments, or in my case, Photoshop. And then you say OK, and it took a second, and now they've been applied. So you can see that they made a big difference.
Could you make the water more blue or more green?
Yes, you can. I'll go back to that. And we will choose once again mask and then landscape. In the case of this Yosemite River, it's pretty green as a natural color for it.
Yeah.
But you can then shift, you can come down here into color temperature.
Ah,
See how it's bluer?
Beautiful.
I can make it any blue you want, or I could just add a little bit to it just to give it a little bit of blue feeling. The tint doesn't work as well. You can play with that uh, if you want to, but I prefer to leave the tint off in most cases. And the same thing in hue, you can use that to shift colors too. But color temperature, in the case of the water, would be my first choice. And then if you want to add some saturation to give it a little boost, that's kind of a nice little boost there of saturation. And then I can say OK, and then it updated it.
Hey, Eric, when I was working on my Death Valley shots, I
Yes,
found something that I thought was really pretty useful that was also right there the way you had that. So you're in landscape, and you can use the color pointer. And like if you want to select, say, the trees and
yep,
make them more green, now
here,
there may or may not be anything else in the image that's green, but by doing it in masking, you would just select a certain area. Like it worked for me, it was the Brinsky Point, and there was some darker colors in the landscape, and I could make them darker. I could make them brighter. You could just work on with a color pointer on that one. You could change the hue on the one color in the landscape, but it wouldn't affect, you know, something that wasn't that color. So you wouldn't be raising the exposure of
right.
everything dark. You'd be raising the exposure of that garnet red or whatever.
Yeah, so there's an eyedropper tool, and it's called Color Point. And I'm going to show it to you in the way that Photoshop deals with it. It's also in develop module. So let's say this green of this tree right here. I'm going to use the eyedropper. I'm going to pick the green right there. And then this has this slider. And the farther you go to the left, it only selects things that are really that green. So once you do that, so I've got this green, let's look at this tree here, and then I can boost the lightness of it. So I can make that a brighter green, or I can shift the hue to a different kind of green. I can even make it look a little autumn if I wanted to, or just increase saturation, which will do the whole thing. And it'll look almost like mossy green that way. So this is called the Replace Color tool. And I like it better than what they offer in Lightroom and in the Develop module because you've got these 3 different areas that you can work with quickly and change your image. So, but it's called Color Pointer in the new tools that are available. All right, I'm going to switch to people. So this is really interesting. Has anybody tried this on people yet or used these new tools? No?
Yes, I use it on people.
You have used it, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, the brand new tool that just came out.
Yeah, you know what? I had a couple of funny experiences with it. So what
Yeah.
I did is I tried to make the mask for all the masks at once.
Uh-huh.
And then I found when I tried to use it, you couldn't select one mask at a time. You kind of got the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, I think it seems to work best with a single mask at a time.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think that's it.
yeah, I tried 2 and it crashed on me, which nothing ever crashes on me anymore, but
Yeah.
that's what happened. So let's take a person. This happens to be my granddaughter, and she's 2 years and 4 months now. So same process. You go to filter, and I'm going to go to camera raw, or you go to develop module in Lightroom. Same thing. You hit the create masks, and if you can look down here, it's searching for people, and it found her. So if you click on her, now it's going to create all these masks. So look at just her face, just her body, or her skin of her body, just her eyebrows for some reason. The eye sclera, which I did not know this, but that's the white of your eye. The iris, lips, whoops. Okay, it doesn't like just lips for some reason. Teeth, hair, clothes. So you can shift all of these things. So I'm going to do the eye sclera first. And I'm going to say create. And then I'm going to turn off the overlay. And I'm going to increase the exposure for that. See how her whites of her eyes brightened up? So a real quick fix for something where you want to fix eyes on people and things like that. And you have all the same tools. You know, you can, and there's the point color that Mercury and I were talking about.
Going back to landscapes,
Yeah.
does the update handle halos any better than it was before? Or are we gonna just have to fight to keep our halos to a minimum?
It does pretty well with halos because what you do is actually when I finish this, remind me, Alan, we'll go back and we'll do that and I'll show you real quickly what that is.
Okay.
So I fixed her eyes there.
So Eric,
Yeah,
when I'm working with this tool,
yeah.
see the little people sitting over her eye?
Say that again.
The little people sitting on her eye?
Yeah, that just tells you that this is where the mask is being applied.
Yeah, so I found that got in the way.
Yeah, it does get in the way. Fortunately, she has two eyes, so I can look at the other one.
Okay. Yeah,
But
that I found that kind of annoying.
yeah, I
It's a
agree.
button to turn it off someplace.
I agree. And maybe we can get them to let you do that to turn them off.
Oh, you know what? If you go to iSclera, it may be one of those three dot things.
Uh, Up here.
Down one. 'Cause
Well,
this is,
yeah, but this is the things you can do. No.
no, it's just
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there are three. Uh, Hide.
yeah. I think try that. There it goes.
It might have turned it off though, because it doesn't look as white as it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just found if you're
Yeah,
working in
all
a
it did was turn it off,
oh,
unfortunately.
yeah, if you're working in a small space, it's kind of hard to look at.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll send a note to my friends at Adobe and see if they mention. Okay, so now I'm gonna create a new mask and I'm going to, uh, where is she? Select people. And now check this out. So for years and years, I have worked on irises of people to make them brighten up their eyes. A lot of times people with brown eyes, they'll get too dark in an image. Uh, if people with color in their eyes, you may want to use different uh, enhancements to that. And in this case, it does a pretty amazing job of selecting just the iris. And I can brighten her eyes to the point where I can make her an alien if I want to. So
Huh.
her eyes in real life are pretty blue, so they're probably about like that. Uh, and so I'm going to do another mask, and this time I'm going to do just her face, and I'll brighten that up a little bit. I wish it didn't default. Maybe there's a way to turn that off so it doesn't default. But I'm going to brighten up her face a little bit just to match the overall brightness of the image.
You could bring down the highlights, right?
I could do that too. I don't think that in this case, it may not help me. Yeah, it's not really doing much.
I was just looking at the cheeks kind of standing up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really didn't help me much, but uh anyway, there are so many, it's so quick and easy to do this that you can fix people if you want to, or you can do great portraiture and just mess with things. The hair still has a lot of work to be done on it, I think, in my personal opinion. There were better tools in Photoshop, and I can take the hair, and in this case, I'll go down to effects, and I might want to put a little more texture in her hair. It's already got quite a bit of texture, so I don't want to do too much. And sometimes you boost the clarity as well. It gives you a little more emphasis. And actually, maybe too much emphasis on the hair, so I'm going to back off of that. And don't forget to use dehaze, only because look at what a difference it makes in the whole image. I can make her hair super blonde. It's not really that color. Uh, but dehaze has a nice effect, and you're only working with just the hair on her head. It's pretty powerful tools. Okay. Um, I guess I'll save this by saying okay. Okay, so we'll go back to the landscape image, Alan. And,
Right.
and what you were saying, explain the issue again.
Halos. How does it deal with halos any better than before? Or how do you deal with halos, to put it another way?
It does, and I'll tell you why. So let's just look at this right now. This is not tack sharp, so I don't really have any halos here. I'm just looking to at part of the image that we selected. So this doesn't really have them. However,
There was a little bit on the top on the right along the mountainside there, Eric, on the other side of the valley. If you go just right
right
in the
there,
steep part,
yeah, right there.
right in there.
Okay, so let's see if we can affect that or effect that. Um, let's go to camera raw. And what they say to do, what Adobe says to do in a tutorial is that you turn on your mask, you turn on your landscape, and we'll have to see if it works on this particular image. So what it's saying is that we're going to choose vegetation, which included the mountains, and we're going to say create. And then we're going to subtract. And when you subtract, I'm going to choose landscape again. And I'm going to subtract the sky from that selection. Whoops, it made a new selection, I think. No, it didn't. Okay. So it subtracted the sky from the vegetation. So let's look and see if that worked. I have to move a couple things because I've got you guys are in my way. I can't see the tool that I need to get to. Okay. Okay. I should be able to get there. It's not letting me move it, within the image.
Hmm.
And I don't think yeah, it won't let me use the move tool yeah, it won't let me move around the image. But theoretically, that's the fix, is you subtract the sky mask from the mountain mask, and it should give you a cleaner edge. So let me save it, and then we will check, see if it hasn't applied it yet.
So maybe we could run through, when you're done, when you're ready, it's just
Yeah.
one of the steps.
Run through the steps again?
If you wouldn't
Yeah,
mind.
sure. Uh, that may look a little cleaner. I've blown it up quite a bit more, but you'll have to try and decide for yourself. So you want the steps for the whole thing or for the halo?
Halo.
Okay. So you go through the same process. I have to go back into Camera Raw and into the mask and landscape.
Eric, can you zoom in before you go to the mask so that you're looking at a detail?
No, it kicked me back to the full image last time. I tried that last time. Okay, so the assumption is that that halo that we're seeing is on the edge of the sky and the vegetation.
Right.
And so what they suggest you do is you choose the largest one, which is the vegetation. Then you hit create. And then you're going to say subtract. You're subtracting from the mask. And you're going to say select landscape again. And this time we're going to subtract the sky. And when we say create, this is recorded, Alan, so you'll be able to get anything if I don't. But you can see here, can you see this tiny little minus symbol
Yep.
in here? It's saying that the sky is being, that edge of the sky should be separate from the vegetation, and it's taking it away from the vegetation mask.
Okay,
So it should clean up that edge is what they're trying to tell you.
okay,
All right.
try that.
And I'll send everybody a link to the recording tomorrow. Okay. So let's go back to people for a second. If you have automatic updates on, you should have these things should show up automatically for you. I'll also send you a link to Matt K, and he has some additional filters that he has put in on his side. He's built, and they're free. You can just download them. If you want to do that, you can get a few extras for the landscape. I don't think that he has any for people, but I'll put in the link that he offered as well. Camera raw filter, masking, and down here it's doing the people thing. Okay. So I'm going to go to close now. And when you're in close, and I say create, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to subtract, I'm going to subtract her pants from her
Don't,
shirt.
just a joke.
I'm going to, I missed the joke.
We're threatening to take off her pants.
Yes, I am. I'm going to change the color of her pants.
Ah, okay.
By subtracting them. So let's see. I'm going to subtract. I'm selecting people. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, I did that. I did that wrong. Let's see if it'll let me do a Command Z. Okay, so I'm in her clothing, and now what I want to do is I want to subtract, and I'm going to choose a brush. And the reason I'm using a brush is I'm going to make a small brush and a small feather on that brush. And theoretically, this doesn't always work, by the way. I did this like 3 times before I got it to work. And I don't know whether it, because I wasn't painting everything into its liking or not, but theoretically I'm painting it in. And
So what are you subtracting?
her pants from the shirt. So now, see, it has a subtraction on there. So
Yeah,
now I can go ahead and change the color of her shirt.
but you have clothes as the entire mask, so you didn't separate pants and shirt.
I did because see now I've got brush and I've got clothes.
Yeah,
The brush one should be only her pants. So I should be able to go into that. Or not.
I did, don't see how the pants are separated from the clothes.
Well, because I've subtracted it. So now theoretically, when I make an adjustment, it should only affect the shirt. So let's try that first.
Oh, you
So
subtracted all the pants and left the,
left the shirt, yeah. See how it has the two little people on her shirt, but it has a subtraction brush.
yeah,
Yeah. And now I'm going to darken her shirt. Now see, it's darkening her pants too. And this happened to me a couple of times, so it's not quite ready for prime time. Uh, all the features of this tool anyway. But that's the concept, and that's how you would create that if you were to do that.
Eric, I've had to do that too when I've been using masking and I subtract, and then like I'm using a brush and it doesn't subtract, it adds, and then I just like turn it off and then do it again, and like the second time it'll work.
Yeah, that same thing happened to me. The only thing that drives me crazy is that you can obviously see that I've got a brush with a minus subtraction, and this is the original mask, right? And so this part is, and it shows up here that it's been subtracted. There's a little tiny minus sign that you probably can't see that shows up there too. So I don't get it, but anyhow. But that's the process that you would use. And I'm going to go back to the original image because I'm going to show you one other tool. So that's a French bulldog laying in the background there. And if you're not using this tool, you need to use this tool. This is the remove tool. It's pretty flipping amazing most of the time. You know, I'm just making a quick selection here, and it's going to take the dog out and put in some blanket part there. Not only does it remove it, it fills it in with the nearest area.
And
Uh,
you're still in Camera Raw, right?
no, I'm just in Photoshop. The Photoshop remove tool. The one in Lightroom is not quite as sophisticated, but it's the Photoshop remove tool. See what it looks like over here? It looks kind of like a Band-Aid with stars above it. And
Well, I just want to say I've been impressed with the eraser, the new eraser tool. That's an AI eraser tool in Lightroom.
yeah.
yeah, it does some very similar things. And the part that amazes me is that, you know, it didn't hurt her. I went way over
Yeah,
on
no
top of
halo.
the arm. It just found it and separated it and made these subtle textures where the dog was laying. And I don't know,
Very clean.
very, very amazing to me. So, all right. Now I'm going to switch and show you something different that I didn't put on the list. Uh, before I do that, are there any questions about this? Okay. We did landscape and we did people. And then I'm going to show you an image that you will see in the competition. And this is not the image that you'll see this is the bottom layer of the image that you'll see in competition. And I shot this girl, it's actually a little girl. I shot her 3 years ago, and I did about 12, I have 12 shots from the shot I did with her, and she's amazing. She's got that, to me, and kind of that Audrey Hepburn kind of look. But I'm going to show you the layers and how I put this together. So I've got to minimize you guys. Okay. Uh, so what I decided to do is I found that my neighbor has this tree. It's called a forest pansy, and it has heart-shaped leaves, and they are this color. And in the early spring, the tree is barren and it blossoms, pink blossoms, and then it produces these red leaves. And then in the summertime, those red leaves turn green. And in the fall, they fall off the tree. It's deciduous. So we're going to build this layer by layer for you. So believe it or not, all of these are the exact same leaf. I just sized them differently and I added shadows to them. So let's see if I can find one that's got an obvious shadow. So see right here, there's a shadow on her cheek from the leaf. And if I turn off that leaf, it goes away, but I'm going to turn just the shadow off. And that's what it looks like with no shadow on it. But it would have a shadow if you did it in, I guess, naturally or normally, it would have a shadow. So I created these shadows on there. My original intention was to pull off a bunch of these leaves, stick them to a board, and then cut a hole out that she could look through. And instead, I decided to do it this way. And it still looks like she's behind it looking through it. And the leaf was taken with an iPhone, and the image of the girl was with my Nikon. So
If you were eyes and green, you could put it in National Geographic.
that's right. Yeah. So anyway, if you're working with layers at all, layers can be complicate things. It's a little difficult to follow it initially, but once you do, it creates so many possibilities for you. It's a great thing to have. Okay, we have some time to talk about anything else, Photoshop or otherwise, if you'd like.
Can you change her eyes?
Can I change her eyes?
Yeah, put some
Uh,
different color to them.
I could change her. It's a monochrome,
Oh, okay.
so it
Doesn't
would be
matter.
difficult to do. But yes, I can, just because you've challenged me. And
No,
here's the way.
I'm not challenging. I'm just asking.
No, no, I think in a good way, in a good way.
Okay.
So here's the way I would do that. So she got very dark eyes right now. So I'm going to take and do it's called elliptical marquee, which is this round one. I'm going to make a feather of 2 because this is a fairly large image. And then I'm going to draw her iris. Now, I don't know if this would work in those new tools or not, so I'm going to show you the way I would normally do it, and then we'll go backwards and see if the new tools will help us. Okay, so I'm going to go to um, image adjustments, brightness. So I'm going to brighten her eyes up first. Quite a bit. And let me see if contrast will help me. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing to her other eye. And there's a way to select both of these at the same time, by the way. But I didn't do it in this case, but image adjustments, brightness, contrast. So now it looks like she has lighter colored eyes. And the reason that I want to do that is because I'm going to let's see if it'll let me. Yeah. I'm going to put a color tone on top. So image adjustments, photo filters. And I can choose any color I wish. So I'm going to make her eyes blue. I'm going to make them a very pale blue. And I'll say okay to that. Uh, oh, well, that's because I made a critical error. So I got to cancel this. I need a new layer. So I hit the plus sign down here. And now I have a new layer. I'll bring that layer to the top because it puts the layer wherever you happen to be at the time. All right, so here's a new layer, and I'm going to do image adjustments, photo filter. It's not empty. It thinks that my selection area is empty. Okay, let's try this again. And I'm taking away from that selection, by the way, this is the quick selection tool, and then I'm hitting Alt on my PC or Option on the Mac, and whoops, and I'm removing part of the selection. It's not happy for some reason. Huh, that's odd because it didn't do it before. Maybe I can do it with, no. I'm not sure why it's causing trouble, but it is definitely causing me trouble. Keeps going away. Okay. I'm going to do it yet again, a different way. So I'm going to use the polygon lasso tool. And I'm just going to follow the shape of her iris. And I'm going to choose a blue again. And then I'm going to edit and fill with the blue. Now you won't be able to see anything. And that's because the opacity is 100%. And in this case, I'm going to reduce it down. So we just have a little hint of blue in the image. Now, if I was being really detailed, see, I left a little bit of roundness up here above the eye. I'd go back and fix that, or so now she's got one blue eye. And it looks fairly realistic. So you have to play with the opacity once you've got it at a viewing distance and say, there's a little touch of blue somewhere in there, kind of a Taylor Swift blue. I'm sorry, you were going to ask a question?
No.
Oh, okay. We can make the other eye a different color. Let's see if I can get this to work the other way I wanted it to work. Also, you can, to make another layer, you can just inside of a selection, and you can just say layer via copy. Uh, Wrong, I was on the wrong layer to make a copy, so I have to be on her, which is down here at the bottom. And then I can say layer via copy, and it's only going to copy her eye. And it's actually down here. And now I can go back to this tool. I'm going to go back to see if I can get the photo filter to work again. It started working okay, but now it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. Image adjust, photo filter. I'm going to go from some of the existing filters that are there and see what effect it put in there. So I can change her eye with each of these filters just slightly. So the best one was the cooling filter, and then you can change the density. I can make it wild blue, or I can make it soft blue, just like I was doing for the other one on the other side. So those are two different blues, but nevertheless, those are a way to change the eyes. Should I give her blue eyes when I submit it to the competition?
Not bad.
I could.
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like without. Uh, See if I can show you that. That's without, and then I wouldn't do as strong a blue as that one. I do something more like this blue on the eye on this side. Yeah, put the blue in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
I
Okay,
think green would be better.
green.
Yeah, and one National Geographic, remember?
Yeah, that's true. It would go with the leaves, and that's why it
sure.
wouldn't be as jarring. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let's
So,
see if I can do that
have
with.
you seen this young lady recently?
Say that again.
Have you seen her recently?
Yeah. So she's 11 years old. She was 9 when I took those other photos.
She still, she would make a great model for the club.
She and she's absolutely brilliant. And I've used her to model for me for a few things. And
Yeah,
I ask her to do something and she does it exactly the way I'm asked her to. she's really great little gal.
Yeah.
And she's got those Audrey Hepburn eyes too,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens. Let me just see if I can shift this. So I'm going to do image, adjust, hue and saturation to see if I can shift the color of the eye. I know I
Yeah.
can do it. So I want it to be green, but I don't want it to be overly uh, overly out there, I guess.
Yeah, just cut saturation.
I'm going to reduce the saturation a little bit and maybe uh, increase the, no, yeah, maybe something about there. So let's see what that looks like when I back up a little bit though. You know, there's a pitcher in the Major League Baseball that has two different colored eyes, a green eye and a blue eye. Uh, let's see, I'll shift the other one too, and then we'll see if that looks like it's worth keeping. Since I started with two different colored blues, it's going to be tough to match these two. It's fairly close. Green?
Blue.
Yeah, blue's better.
Mercury, are you a yes to green or a
No,
no?
I said blue. I'm with blue.
Oh, you're on the blue camp? Okay.
I think the blue looked better too.
All
Blue.
right. So that's when we go back to our history panel, which is a great thing. And I can go all the way back to, let's see. There's the blue. Oh, okay. There's my two blues. And then what I can do is I can go to this layer of this blue, go back to layers, and then I need to go to my hue and saturation again. I'm going to reduce the saturation a little bit. I'm going to add some lightness to it. Oh, too much. And I'm going to have to shift the other one as well. Yeah, I'll probably end up going back and doing this from scratch since I used two different colored blues before. But anyway, you get the idea of how you can really affect the image pretty easily, even though it was a black and white image, with either doing with color filters from the photo filter, image adjustments, photo filters, or simply choosing a color and filling in the iris and then reducing the opacity of the image in order to have the black and white details show through and have the blue overlay. But there's too much green in this one and maybe too much blue in that one, and just the right amount of freckles.
Yeah, you got to zoom in to see them.
Yeah.
Super cute freckles, though.
Yeah, yeah. She's going to be very tall. Her father's like 6'3", and she looks like she's a giant already. She looks like she's 14 or 15 and she's 11. All right. Well, I think that's enough damage for today.
Well,
And
before you go, you were started off with the whole masking thing. If you were to do this in masking, could you just go to masking, like in Camera Raw,
oh
and,
yeah, I'm sorry.
and then use a
Yeah,
brush?
yeah,
You would use a brush. You would just brush her iris, and then
yeah.
you could change a lot of color stuff by doing that.
Yeah, you couldn't do it because it's a monochrome image. I couldn't do it with, you're saying with the Adobe
Oh,
tool.
okay. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but I could affect the brightness of it very easily. So I could do that, but I could not do the color because it's a monochrome.
Yeah, good point. You wouldn't have anything to pull from, sure.
Yeah, so it's a total Photoshop deal then in this case.
Yeah, okay.
That may be a pain one more time. Can you crop in a little bit around that so the percentage of red is less?
I
Cooper in the
missed that.
background, by the way, guys. Sorry.
Cooper.
That's Cooper.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? Repeat that.
Uh, just crop her in a little bit so the percentage of red is less of the
Oh.
picture. Just part of my anal background, I guess.
Crop in.
All four sides. Make the
Oh,
red.
make the whole thing tighter.
Yeah, less percentage of red.
I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, here.
That's just part of my anal nature.
Well, you might be right. There is a lot of red there. I could even make it more
Ooh, I think you got it.
somewhere right in there, maybe a little bit.
Less than a little about a third. Yeah.
Let's see.
Ooh, yeah.
Is that better?
I like it.
Yeah, less emphasis on the leaves and more emphasis on her eyes anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good input. Okay. All right,
Save it.
guys. Have a good night, and we'll do this again in a month.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. This was
All right.
great.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Did you join us, Anar?